Um, okay, so thank you everybody for staying on with us. Sarah Marie Thompson here from wildandcreative.com. I'm a creative lifestyle expert and soul guide and the host of wildandcreative.com. And today I have with me Melanie Layer, who you might see online. I feel like she pops up in a lot of different places. I feel like she's actually everywhere all at once. And so she's here to join us. So this is a wild and creative masterclass, fun ways to increase your personal power and everyday magic. And I feel like Melanie is perfect for this type of masterclass. So she's a high performance lifestyle coach and luxury brand business coach. And she's also a digital nomad, like I was telling the folks. So Melanie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And please kind of get into your journey, if you will. Just kind of like what has brought you to this point, just so that we can all just get a little bit of a sense of, just give us the cliff notes, if you will.
All right. I'll give you the fast forward version, but it's quite the story.
Okay.
So my story starts when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
My parents were going through some difficult times financially, and I stepped up in my family, started my first business when I was 12 years old. So I kind of conquered that money blueprint crap that most people bring into their adult lives very soon in my life. And basically just, I needed to make the money. I needed to figure it out. I had this really strong reason why to do it. And I just learned very young that I could make money. It was like a gift that I had. So anytime we'd have fundraisers at school and stuff, I would kick everybody's butt. I was always chosen to be the chocolate selling person, or I sold rulers and I sold all kinds of crazy things during grade school. And then I ended up actually dropping out of high school and wanting to just make money. And I was recruited very quickly. I was a store manager for sales commission, like a sales job selling clothes at first. I was a makeup artist. And then I fell into this company, which was commission only sales. And I was 21 years old and I was making like $1,000 a day.
Nice.
It was ridiculous. I had never seen that amount of money in my life, and I just started like living like I was made of money. I was just giving everybody money. I was traveling all over the place. I had more money than brains at that time. But what happened was I didn't manage my money very well, and I was just kind of giving it. And I was in a relationship that I kind of got the guy that I was dating very intertwined in the work I was doing. And we were together for 7 years, but when we broke up, he actually fired me from this job and the truth is I needed to be in this new district or this new area so that we wouldn't be working together since he fired me, and I just couldn't sell anymore. Like all of my money blueprint, awesomeness, all of my sales bravado, everything that I was so proud of, just literally I could not sell a thing. I was stressed. I had anxiety. I was heartbroken. Nothing was working. And I was working really far from home, and I ended up living out of my car and going bankrupt. Lost everything. I was 25, and I was just so disappointed with myself and so depressed. And I'd always been unfortunately, I'd been a show off with my money, so I was so terrified of letting anybody know that I was in hardship. I didn't tell anybody. My parents thought I was living out of a hotel. I was living in my car. And it was just so bad. And I wouldn't have told any of my friends because I was the friend everybody called for help. I wouldn't have told. So I was completely alone in my car, feeling so depressed, not able to make any money, just bottom of the barrel. And I remember one night I'm not very proud of this story, but I remember one night I Googled how to make your ex-boyfriend cry because I was mad and I was blaming him for all my misfortunes. And what I found was this course called How to Have the Relationship You Want. And I got really involved in learning about relationships and men and women and what makes us act the way we act, and just totally submersed myself, literally listening to self-development tapes 12 hours a day, living out of my car. My credit card was maxed. This is right before I went bankrupt. My credit card was maxed, and somehow I was able to buy a $500 coaching program on my over maxed out credit card that wouldn't even get gas on it, but it got this program. And I was listening to it nonstop in my car. And I just got really clear that I was really screwing things up in relationships. And law of attraction started to kick in. Next thing I knew, I had people reaching out for just being like, I'm so lost in my relationship. And it kind of escalated, and people were like, are you a coach? You have really great advice. And at first I was saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this really intense story happen, which I don't know if this, this is like the first time I'm speaking to your people, so I don't want to go too deep into what happened, but there was, I had a moment when I was living out of my car. This is in Canada, so it's snowing, snow plow machines coming and taking away the snow, and I couldn't sleep. And I was having really bad thoughts that night because I was just really upset with myself and just really bad. And these snowplow trucks were just coming and taking the snow off. And I was like scared that they would hit me. And at the same time, I thought it would solve a lot of things if they did. And I kind of scared myself with my thoughts. And I was like, I've got to move my car. So I went and I parked in front of a hotel. This was in Sherbrooke. Mm-hmm. And it was a Delta hotel. It was this long, skinny Delta hotel in Sherbrooke. And I was sleeping in my car, and I just had this really uneasy feeling around 5 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up, and I was like just feeling really uneasy. And I heard this sound like someone had just thrown like a whole patio set out of a glass door. And I looked up like this, and there was a woman falling from the sky. She literally splattered right in front of my car.
Wow.
She had brought a brick. She broke her window, and she threw herself out of the 14th floor of the hotel and fell in front of my car. And it was such an awful moment for me. Like, I couldn't sleep for like weeks after that, as though I wasn't already down in the dumps. But then I was feeling guilty because I knew I'd had really shitty thoughts that night. And I was like, what does this all mean? Mm-hmm. So I started this business called The Invisible Coach. And it was a referral only coaching business because I could not tell people I was living in my car, and I was not proud of who I was. I was young. I just thought no one would hire me. But I built this referral only coaching business and ended up starting a business out of my car, grew a 6-figure coaching business like this. And next thing I knew, people wanted me to coach them on how to grow businesses. And I just started taking life so seriously. People say don't take life seriously. I take life seriously, but I don't get bogged down by the things. But I'm so grateful every day that I wake up, and that whole thing changed my life. So I do life coaching and relationship coaching, and through becoming a successful coach, I started kind of business coaching for coaches. Then fell in love with the business coaching thing, and basically went on an adventure learning from the top business coaches and business entrepreneurs on the planet. And now I have a successful business coaching business as well. So I like to help people in all 3 areas now. That's kind of how it happened.
That's an intense story, but I really do love it. So I want to ask you, okay, so going back to the younger version of yourself when you were making a ton of money and you were like, money for everybody. and then it was like shattered. That whole thing was just gone. What was the emotions that were coming up for you like at that time when like you felt like a failure, like in that moment? Or like, did you feel that you were never going to be able to get back to a place where you were going to be, making money like that again? Like what were the feelings there? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching have been through different roller coaster periods of their life where they've made a lot of money and then they didn't, and then they have and they didn't. And sometimes I know, even for myself, right, like we have been to a place before, and then right after that it feels like we'll never amount to anything again, right? But I mean, there is that whole roller coaster of emotions.
Yes. I mean, what was the scariest for me is it literally felt like I had broken myself. Mm-hmm. Like when I was in it, I felt like I was in this flow. It was so effortless. I used to think, how is not everyone rich? Mm-hmm. Like, this is so easy. Like, you just got to do it. Like, I just thought everybody's excuses were crap. And I was like so above it all, And when it happened to me and I just couldn't do it, like it didn't matter. I would show up at work. I would stand up on the same stage I'd always stood up on with the same products I'd always sold, saying the same words, and no one was buying. And it felt like I literally broke myself. Like I broke it. I ruined it. It was a gift, and I didn't appreciate it, and now it's gone. It felt like it was never going to come back. And not only did it feel like it was never going to come back, it felt like I hadn't even appreciated it when I had it. And maybe I had caused it to go away because I was the selfish, awful person. Like I blamed myself for everything. And it really, there was no part of me that believed it was coming back. It was so gone, I couldn't even feel it. It was the way it felt inside. It was like I had a ribbon and I could feel it unwinding, like just like all my power was just leaking. And the more afraid I was that it was going to go, the more it leaked and the more it left, and I had no control. I was trying to pull it, and it was just going. It was, oh God, just thinking about it, I remember how it felt. It was just the worst feeling ever.
The feeling of not having control. And you know, and for someone who's very creative, you know, control is something that we love, right? We love to have control of the situation. So, yeah, I mean, law of control. We are as happy as we feel in control of our life, right? So in those moments, I can totally empathize with you. When was the aha moment that you had when you're like, huh, this really crappy situation that happened to me was for like a bigger purpose?
It actually took a while because I was always comparing myself to what I had. So what I was expecting was that, I'm not expecting, hoping, praying, wishing, was that all of a sudden my sales would start getting better at work. That's what I was hoping for. I didn't even notice when all of a sudden there were people coming out of the woodworks for me to coach them. I didn't even register that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was making a lot of money at my job. So, you know, so it didn't feel like a huge thing. I just said $100 an hour because I didn't really know what to charge. So it didn't feel like a huge accomplishment. I was making more money before selling lint rollers in a store, so it didn't feel like an accomplishment. Mm-hmm. And they were sporadic clients, and it's not like I had this business. I was doing it invisibly, so it all just kind of felt like it wasn't real.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I was getting more and more clients, and I realized that everything they needed from me everything I was teaching them were things that I had gone through, and people started saying things like, you've changed my life. You've saved my marriage. You've saved my life. And hearing those things all of a sudden really humbled me and was like, this is not about the money. Mm-hmm. Like, there is no amount of lint rollers I could have ever sold in a day that would make me feel the way it felt when someone said, you legitimately just saved my life in this conversation. Like, I really got in that moment, it is not about the money at all. And I was like, gosh, maybe everything of this happened to me so that I would realize that. Because I think that being so young when my parents were in need of money and kind of coming out with this business when I was 12 and like saving the day with my rock star little business and helping my family, I got a lot of significance from that. And because I was so young, I think it kind of ingrained in my system, like making money is what I am.
Right. And especially when you got to that place where you lost it, it was like, who am I? Like, who's my identity? Like, what's my identity? Right?
Yeah. Like, my only skill I have just lost. Who am I?
Yeah.
So when I got that my skill was actually so not making money, my skill was actually helping and transforming people, that I would say that was my aha moment.
We've got lots of comments here, people saying, love this, so interesting. They've been there before. It's all about the people. It's all not about the money. Melissa says, you really have to break through it by trying different activities. I've had to do that in my other businesses. It's hard sometimes because it's emotionally draining, but yes, it also helps to have several things going on. I want to ask you as well, you know, how has your life changed now, like even emotionally or mentally? How has your life changed now through being able to live the life of your dreams now? Like, how can you see yourself as a different person, or are you still the same person? You just have you have a different mentality, different mindset?
That's such a good question, because I was actually having this thought just a couple of days ago, because some of my old friends have been reaching out to me and saying, like, kind of poking jokes like, hey, millionaire, where are you at? You know, like, which country are you in? And making fun of me like that. And one of my friends said to me, I can't believe you made it. I remember when we were like 19 and you used to say, because I'm from a tiny little town outside of Montreal, Canada, a French speaking town. And, you know, she said, I remember when we were like 19 and you'd be like, I'm going to be successful and all this. And I used to think, oh gosh, she's in for a rude awakening, and you did it. And I'm so impressed. And I can't even relate to that person anymore. It's to the point where I don't know where the break happened, but I literally feel like I've had two lives in my lifetime. I don't relate to that other person. I remember the things, but I am so different that it's not even the same thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. When did you stop being the invisible coach?
That took me a while, actually. It took me a while because I realized that in order to be visible, I was going to have to put myself online. And at that point, I was charging like $250 an hour for my coaching. And I was like, can you imagine? There's people who now are going to see me and I'm going to look like less than I am on social media. How am I going to do that? Like, I'm making all this money. I'm successful invisibly. And then I'm going to put myself online. I'm going to get 3 likes on my stuff. Like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. No. So resistant to all of that. Like, how do you start when you're better offline than you are online? And it's such a significance driven world where like, how many people liked your video and how many people watched this? And I was like, I'm going to have to start at 0. So I procrastinated it for the longest time. And I would say I got 2 clients that changed my life, Nicole and Stacy. They started with me as life coaching clients and they ended up becoming business coaching clients. And I really grew as a person with these 2 girls because they saw me for everything that I was, not just a business mind, not just a good coach, but they really loved me for who I am. I became really good friends with them. And I realized like I have a lot more to offer if I can see my clients. I need to put myself out there. So my relationship with them is actually what pushed me to put myself online and start building it. I was like, you know what? I'm afraid. I'm terrified. I might look like a dink for the first little while. And I'm willing to go through that if it means I'm going to meet more women like these and connect with people. And it changed my life to go public. And I think people like the story also that I was successful before I started showing myself. Because it's not just like I showed up and then, hi. I had already done the work. So
that seems to be a topic that I get involved in my groups and talk about often is just, people showing up online. And I think that, in 2017, like social media technically is everything really, in the online world, of course. And a lot of people can get really bogged down and really feel almost trampled on in a sense when they can't progress and when they can't, keep expanding their businesses, right? And they maybe have self-doubt and all that kind of stuff. And, from your perspective, what would you say to somebody that is watching right now that maybe wants to get offline because they feel that, for them, they can't progress, right? Like just like something more specific to them. What would you let them know?
Well, I really believe that your online image is only as good as your offline presence. If all you've got is an online presence, it's empty and people can feel that. Like it really has shifted. I think when video and Facebook came out, you could get away with just posting random things and looking cool on paper. But now I think people see right through that. And what they're really looking for is an authentic person. So if you're not actually doing the things offline, it won't work online. It doesn't matter how great your pictures look and how filtered they are. There's people stealing pictures off YouTube, off Pinterest and pretending they're their pictures. Like it's not enough to just look good online. If you're not actually that person offline, it doesn't work. And I'm so grateful that I had worked on myself so much before I did show myself online, because some of the most amazing feedback I've gotten in showing myself online is how approachable I feel and how like it's just easy and people can just tell like it's real and it's authentic. So even for myself, like I have a program that I started doing, group program called the Impact Academy. And it's teaching people how to grow their impact so they can become influential and then make money. But a lot of what I teach is be someone offline, because the people who know you will always do more for you than the people who just like and follow you online. And your ability to actually touch people offline make you a lot more flowy and congruent online. The fact that I speak to people every single day, I could be FaceTiming you right now and coaching you over FaceTime. So this conversation, I'm not stressed. This is us just talking. But I don't think that I could be able to do that if this felt like a show, like, oh, I'm being broadcasted on the Wild and Creatives. Is my hair right? What am I doing? What will I say? Like this is just like us talking, because I'm so used to doing it on and offline. So I'd say if you feel like your online presence is stifling you, it's because you're focusing on your online presence. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to stop it. You just need to really rev stuff up on your outside life. You need to be someone out there.
Yeah.
Online is not enough anymore.
So many people, I think that there's so many people, entrepreneurs, mentors, coaches, the whole, that whole thing online. And so many people just think that they can just have that online persona and that's where it stops, right? Just like you mentioned. And that seems very stressful to me. Like, I don't know about you, but like doing that seems more stressful than just being you on and offline, right? Like it's, I can understand why people can get really, really stressed out and also very doubtful when they're not, hitting those numbers or what have you that they're setting for themselves online, because I mean, it just seems like, yeah, you are living two lives, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about how, okay, so I'm going to give you an example. I know that for a lot of people, how their mentality is broken down with the things that they put their time into and the things that they are doing that, are not bringing them joy and bringing them, almost negativity in their life. Have you ever had a point where you have had to kind of like section off your brain and say, okay, I'm getting rid of this thing that's like causing me stress, causing me negativity, and I don't know, like I'm comfortable with the uncertainty of like what removing that will bring, but I need to remove it. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had a situation like that?
I mean, I've even had clients I've had to remove for that situation. That thing.
Yeah.
And at first I would, in order to be able to survive, because again, when I started, I was in a really bad financial situation and I knew what it was like to have money. So I was like, I just want to get back to that. I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to have to look at my bank account before I make a purchase. Is this going to go through? Like, no, I don't want that. I need to be making money. So even though it was not all about the money, there was a huge, huge, huge fear for me that I was not going to get the money back. Even though it wasn't all about the money, I was like, I'm 25. I cannot go downhill from here. Like, this is not, I can't, it needs to change. Something needs to change. So at first I would have some crazy clients, like people who would just cancel on me at the last minute. They'd drain all my energy. They'd put me on hold during our coaching call, or even they just go, Melanie, hang on a second, and then start talking to someone else right in front of me. Like, we'd be on a call and I'd be like, oh yeah, you just put that down there, just blah, blah, on our coaching call. And I would just felt so frustrated, like, oh my gosh, this drains my energy, but I need the money. And I remember the hardest thing I had to do is let a client go that was paying me $2,500 a month. It was like the largest amount of money that I was making. If any of my clients was paying me at that time, and I was just like, but speaking to him gave me headaches. Like, I felt nauseous and stressed before every call, and I let it go. And I got a huge bump up in my business after that.
Yeah.
So it's like when you can be in integrity with yourself and let go of the things that are causing you pain, you make space for new. When you fear nothing is going to fill the gap, you tend to hang on to things too long that you could have let go of. So it's not that I'm fearless, and it's not that I've gotten to a place where it's like, no, I don't tolerate crap. You just go away. Like, it's not even like that. It's just like, breathe through it. And yeah, it's scary, but this is not the life that I want. And I think my quality of life has become more important than my bottom line. And since that, my bottom line has increased dramatically.
Because, I mean, that's such an amazing thing, an empowering thing, too, when you can do for yourself, when you can let go of something that just isn't right. Like, intuitively, you're just like, this is not, like, perfect situation for me. But yet, so many people hold on to that. Like, so many people would hold on to that client, right? Because no matter what, and they'd, like, trudge through it and just, like, somehow make it work and have the fear every day of talking to them and just, like, the discomfort. But when you can empower yourself and just, like, let those situations go that are not 100% right for you, obviously you're going to be at a higher vibration and your life is going to go a lot better, right? So
for sure. And I have insight on why I believe people do that is when you are in a situation that you don't like, we often do this like pro and con thing in our mind. And what we do is, what is the worst case scenario? Like, if I let this person go, what's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah, I don't want to live with that, so I'm going to stay here. So we keep something that's mediocre because in comparison to the worst case scenario your brain can possibly conjure up, this isn't so bad. But we don't really look at the best case scenario. Like, what is the best case scenario? Because that's what we're working for and that's what we're striving for. We always go to this, oh gosh, I could let that $2,500 a month. What if I don't replace it? What is that? Okay, well then I won't be able to do this. Okay, it's worth the pain. Yeah. That's not the best way to do it as an entrepreneur. You don't want to go worst case scenario. You don't want to go worst case scenario, and you don't want to go worst case scenario. You want to find something in the middle. Like best case scenario is I let this person go, and the energy I find is so extraordinary I become a millionaire. Okay. Worst case scenario is I don't find somebody to replace this person. I regret it, and I go with a lower salary than I'm making right now, and I never replace it, and I feel like crap. What's the middle is I will let the person go. It'll take me a little while, but I will replace it, and I will feel better. That's the middle.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good exchange. So I'll go for it. But if you're always comparing to the worst case, you'll never move.
Yeah, I think so many people put aside their feelings about things, just even those little bits of happiness that are being taken away. For like same example, so say someone had that client and they just kept it, are really putting money before their feelings, which is a really effed up way of thinking about it, because our feelings is really what's going to attract more of what we want. So, so it's the fear, right? It's the fear of not knowing, right? And anyway, okay. How do you add more magic into your life in a day-to-day?
Magic is my favorite. So first of all, I believe in miracles and I believe in magic. And I think just doing that is one step above. Like if you believe in it, the chances of it coming are way more, because when it does come, you're going to acknowledge it as a magic or a miracle, and then you'll attract more of it, because that's the way the law of attraction works. Whereas if you don't really believe in it, even when a good thing comes, you'll just not see it as a miracle or magic, and then it won't come. But I believe in miracles and magic. Even when I work with my clients, I always tell them, now that we started working together, you can expect miracles and magic in your life. So make sure you let me know when the first miracle comes. And usually within 48 hours, I have this like, oh my God, text message. You'll never guess what happened. So I believe in magic and miracles, and I love having other people believe in their own magic and in miracles. So I'm constantly in that conversation. And I celebrate everything that's positive in my life. Everything. My number one thing I talk about is how grateful I am. I realize, and I don't know if this is because I went without and I got so afraid of losing. I've had health issues, money issues, things where I thought I was not going to make it through in my life. So I'm really consciously adding into my life, being super aware of the good things. And I've really realized the more I do that, the more magic happens. And being someone that gets happy and excited easily, also, I have found, makes other people want to give. So this is an amazing thing this is a shift that happened in my life, and it literally changed my life. I used to be one of those people that if you gave me something, I'd be like, no, oh my God, you shouldn't have. No. But I used to love giving.
Me too. I was there.
Yeah, right. So I had this realization. What would be the worst thing that could happen if I gave something to someone? Like, what would their worst reaction that they could do be? And I realized the worst reaction, and what I hated the most, were people who were like, no. What I really wanted was for people to be blown away. Oh my gosh, so happy, overjoyed, over the moon. So I could feel like the thing I gave was like amazing. And I realized every time I don't give, or every time I don't give that reaction when someone gives to me, I rob them from the fun part of giving.
Yeah.
So I switched that, and I became the most fun person to give things to. And now people give me stuff all the time. I get gifts, I get presents, I get love, I get discounts, I get freebies, I get magic, I get miracles all the time, and I have the best reaction to it. The same people love to give more. New people give. I just attract so much amazing stuff in my life. It's awesome. So gratitude, I would say, is my number one go-to miracle creator.
And you're not coming from a place of, how is this happening for me? You're coming from a place, of course this is happening for me. Of course I'm getting these amazing gifts, amazing miracles happening here and there, right? It's almost like expect it. Like you expect.
Yes.
So since you love magic, since you love miracles, I'm assuming that you are probably very aware of like energy and how that works. So can you tell me how you kind of calibrate your energy like on a day-to-day? Because working with a lot of different people, being online, all that kind of stuff, if you're not careful of your energy, you can be like sucked into a lot of different vortexes, right? So how do you calibrate yours and keep yours like in check?
So the truth is, this is one of my biggest struggles, because I'm a little bit of an empath, and I tend to actually feel other people's stuff. And I don't realize that it's other people's stuff. I think it's my stuff. And I get really like, with it. So this year, I realized that I went to Mexico for a week for a like health cleanse, and ended up not coming back for 2 months, and literally went on this journey of really deeply understanding myself and finding my peace. Because what happened for me is I got so far lost from what my peace felt like that stress and anxiety became a standard, like mild stress and anxiety, just this underlying dis-ease. Because I was happy in my mind, but in my body there was this like feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So going out there, I went on a raw vegan diet, completely raw vegan, just being in the sun every single day. I didn't wear shoes once, like just barefoot in the sun, in the ocean, eating raw vegan food. And I found inner peace. And what I realized is literally it was like doing a body cleanup. You know how when you have a dirty space in your room, it's so dirty that you forget it's dirty? It's like, it's so bad that it's just, if you can't, you better not think about it. But when you actually clean it, and then there's a cup on the counter, it's like, that cup's annoying. I'm going to move it.
Yeah.
So when I found my peace, any one thing that would come on, I'd notice it. And I'd be like, oh, I need to take care of that. So just taking time to relax, going to bed earlier, taking long baths, taking care of myself, walking by myself, listening to empowering music, but doing like girl stuff. I got really into my masculine energy and my thoughts and my results and action and all that stuff, and I forgot that women actually need that goddess time to like sit down and relax and get a manicure and get a massage and just sit and do your makeup till it looks perfect and call a friend just to laugh.
The act of receiving.
So I just do those things now. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So now that I found my peace, whenever there's clutter in it, I can see it because it's clutter on a clean environment. So I really worked hard for a long time, like 2 months intensive, realized a lot of things about myself, and now it's just maintenance and upkeep, and I'm being very aware of it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. It's, again, it's a beautifully, everything that you're talking about, you have kind of like a structured story behind it. And I really love that because it's like you have built these like little foundations for all of the values that you have in your life and all of the things you put to work in your life. So that's really, really interesting. So really cool. Okay, so we're going to start to wrap up here, but I really want to know, like, what do you want for people? Like, people that work with you, people on the planet, like, what do you want for them?
Okay. What I want for people more than anything is to know that no matter where they are in their life, there's more. And not from a place where they are isn't good enough, just from a place that we're in this, like, constantly expanding universe. And you're either completely connected to the flow and the growth, or you're disconnected from it. And when you're disconnected from it, everything feels hard. From the way you feel about yourself, to the way you feel about the way you look, to the way you feel about the people around you, to the way you feel about your business, or the lack of a business, the lack of money, the wishing you could travel, wishing you had romance. Like, all of that wanting stuff like it's not there is caused by not being connected to the flow of what's possible. What I want is that freedom for people to be like, I can do anything. And really, I've been in a place where I had it all and I didn't really think I could ever lose it. I just thought everybody should be able to do it. I was in the part where I lost everything and I thought I would never get it back. And it put me on the other side of that as someone who's, no matter what you go through in life, you can get out of it. And you can be successful without pain. You can be successful through pain. You can be successful because of pain. There's no reason that you can't have what you want. So what I want for people is the absolute freedom inside and outside of their life to know they can have, do, and be every single thing they ever wanted.
That's very awesome. That's very, very cool. So we talked about, how you found your connection, right? And so then you can really kind of see when things are coming into play in your life that are not 100% connected, right? So you can act on those quite quickly. So for anybody that's watching and they really feel as though, you know what, like I'm not feeling that 100% connection, like things aren't really going, I'm finding a lot of resistance in my life. I mean, chances are they are living from a place of ego, because I mean, when there is the ego coming into play, the ego is like, no, I want more, I want this, I want that, and there is no peace in that moment, right? So I mean, other than that, other than finding peace and happiness in every moment, what would you suggest to them if they really want to find that just connection to the flow, to who they are and to what they really, really want to have happen?
Okay, so I got a phone call while you were speaking and it cut off a little part of it, but what I think you're asking me is basically for someone who doesn't right now feel connected to the flow, they don't really know how to get connected to that, and they're in that place where the room is super messy and they can't see. Where do they go from there? Is that pretty much it?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would start to look at what are the areas in your life that you're grateful for right now? What can you actually see is good in your life? And really get clear about that before you even venture into what doesn't work, because it will get you in the correct mindset. If you go right for what doesn't work first, you're going to find things that aren't even true. So get really clear on everything you're grateful for, everything you've created. And if you can't find anything, look harder. You're just being mean to yourself. Like, seriously. So find everything that's beautiful about you. Once you're in a place where you feel really empowered, you look at your life, but not in like what is wrong with me. So I've already seen everything that works about my life. Now, what doesn't work? Like, what are the things that I would love to improve in my life? What works? What doesn't work? What doesn't work? Not that I'm broken, not that I'm awful, not that I'm never going to achieve it. Just what doesn't work? And make a list of those things and look at them, but not because it means anything about your ability to achieve them or not, just the fact that you don't have them right now. Just that. And decide what you want to do different about those things. Mm-hmm. And this word is really important, because what we tend to do is decide what we're going to do better, as if what we weren't doing was good enough. Mm-hmm. And I think that what's really important in the human existence, like our entire life, is at the moment where we're doing things, I believe we're all doing our best. Now, does that mean 5 minutes from now our best is the same as it was? No. We're constantly growing and evolving. So if you look at your life and you say, this is what's working, this is what's not working, so what I'm going to do differently is XYZ. There is no self-inflicted guilt, shame, pain, all the gross stuff we put. Because what I realized was all of the garbage that was in my room, I put there.
Right.
It was the, you're not good enough, you're this, you're that. Like, it was self-imposed. I put it there. So you've got to really commit to stop putting stuff there if you're going to clean up. It's the first rule. It's like, if you're going to be doing the dishes, stop dirtying more dishes. Like, let's just attack the dishes for now. So here's what's clean.
And when you say dirty dishes, you're talking about things that are not in alignment for us, that we don't necessarily love, like things that are causing us some kind of like lower emotional scale, right? That's what you're talking about by dirty dishes and crap, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because like, let's say I don't like my body. Okay, so I don't like my body. If I really go deep into it, what don't I like about my body? I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way people relate to me. I'm gross, I'm this, I'm that, this is wrong with me, that's wrong with me. I'm going to go into this regional thing of what's wrong with me versus, okay, what doesn't work is my body. What I want to do different is this. It doesn't need to be this awful thing.
Right. It's like, don't even go.
If I were to walk into, pardon?
Like, don't even go there. Just like, yeah.
Like, why would you make it worse? You already don't like it. Why would you do that, right? So it's like if I were to walk into a dirty kitchen, this is why I often use dirty rooms and dirty kitchens as an example. What I would do first is I would look at everything that's clean that can be put away. And I would just get it out of the way. So, okay, the salt and pepper shaker can just be put back. The milk can be put back in the fridge. This is done. Okay, next step is I would empty the dishwasher that's already got clean stuff in it. All right, put all that back. So all the clean stuff first. Mm-hmm. So all the positive stuff first. Then, what's dirty? All right, What's dirty? This is dirty. Put it in the dishwasher. It doesn't need to be, oh my God, I'm a pig. Look at this plate. Have you seen this? Look at this. Oh my God. Why? Like, we don't need to do that. When we're cleaning up dirt anywhere else in the world, we just clean it up. But in our minds, we make it worse. We make it mean something, that it's wrong, that it's dirty, instead of just cleaning it, which would save time and all the things. Now, I'm also dying, so I'm just going to drink some water.
I love
my story.
I love your metaphor, because, I mean, everybody can relate to that. A dirty kitchen is very annoying. You know what I mean? I mean, to most people, right? To most people that care. And so I love that metaphor. That was awesome. I've got a question from Haneen, and I'm not sure if we kind of maybe even touched on this already, but it says, how do you organize your time to make your dreams come true and do your daily duties? I think that we kind of touched on it a little bit by really dissecting the things that we love and dislike that we're doing in our life. There was a quote I just put on my Instagram yesterday, and it was like so beautiful. It said, the way to really craft the life you want is by getting rid of the things you don't want. Now, I know that's not exactly what we said about the kitchen story. However, in a sense, it's like, what are you doing in your life right now that is really blocking you from making your dreams come true, right? Like, what is it, like, going back to what we were talking about before, what is it mentally in your mind that you're spending so much time on is draining you, like, bringing down your energy, but you keep doing, right? Like, maybe it's that 9-to-5 job that you're stuck in, or maybe it's whatever, right? Because when you can really release some of these things that are not giving you at least contentment, right? Like, those are the blocks. Like, that's the stuff that's going to be blocking you from making your dreams come true. What do you want to add on that for Haneen? So how to organize time and make your dreams come true and do your daily duties.
So the first thing that I would say, and I totally get your point of view on how you're saying it, but I still do it the opposite way. Because the way I see it is, if I see that my 9-to-5 job is causing me to not be happy in my life, that is saying that there is a circumstance in my life that is causing me sadness. Mm-hmm. So I'm not in control of my life. So way before I attack the circumstance of my problem, I'm going to get in a really strong mindset about what does work in my life. So what am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I have the discipline to hold a 9-to-5 job, because I know a lot of people who can't. I'm grateful that I have a desire to go beyond a 9-to-5 job, because most people don't. I'm grateful that I have a job and that I have income. So what I'm worrying about is not getting a job so I can pay my bills. It's living my purpose so I can be enlightened. That is a really better problem than I'm looking for a job. I'm going to be really proud and impressed that I have a beautiful place to live and that I created that with a 9-to-5 job, because most people live in crap houses and they're dreaming that one day they're going to make the money that they can have a nice house. I'm grateful that I built that space with what I had.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I have a relationship that works in the spare time that I have between the 9-to-5 job. I'm going to get really clear on what is amazing about my life before I start weeding things out. Because when you weed things out from a place of being out of power, you are still not in power to take charge on the next thing. So how I get my duties done in my life is a little different, because my life is all congruent now. My life is my work is my life. My work, everything I do is who I am. Mm-hmm. So my duties are in alignment with everything that I am and everything I need to do. So I don't have to do all my things plus my life plus, it's all the same.
Right.
But for someone who's in the situation where it's like, I'm working a 9-to-5 job that's literally selling my time for money. It's not who I am. It's not what I'm passionate about. How do I find the time in my life to do the things I'm passionate about outside of my work? Because that takes up all my time and energy. The fact is, we have only the present moment. The only time in our entire life, the only space and time where we can make a change is the present moment. And it lasts this long. So how you choose to operate in this second will define whether you will have a result or not. Mm-hmm. But what most people do is they procrastinate time. They'll come home from work, exhausted about an awful day. They will sit down and use time to wind down, which basically means contemplate how crappy today was and think about how frustrated they are that they've got to go back tomorrow. And that time could be used to start a new business, do all their duties. It's just action in the present moment. If you use your time to think instead of act, you are spending your present moment. You're just spending it. So the only way you're going to get things done is to choose to act instead of think in your life. Because what you're doing in this moment is your life. And the future, we work towards the future our entire life and it doesn't even exist. We plan for it for years and by the time it gets here, it's the present anyway. There is no present. There is no future. By the time it gets here, it doesn't feel like the future at all. By the time it gets here, it's just another present moment to deal with. The present doesn't exist, or the future doesn't exist. The present is 1 second long. So the only thing we really own to be ours is the past. Our memories. That's it. That's all we've got.
And it's like when we dwell in the past or be anxious against the future or towards the future, all we are doing is really giving our control up, giving our energy away, right? So we need to keep it in the present moment. Thank you. That was beautiful. That was awesome. You're very deep. I love it. I think that a lot of people watching, hopefully some of the same people have been watching this whole thing. If you're just hopping on now, make sure you go back and watch from the beginning. Melanie has been amazing, awesome. She shared so many awesome tips, tricks, stories, the whole bundle together. Amazing learning experience for so many different people. And I want to ask you, where can people find you? Where can people get a hold of you, connect with you, all that kind of stuff? I know that you do a lot of live streams and you're always kind of sharing different things. So that'd be awesome for people to kind of tap into as well.
Yes, I'm actually doing a 90-day Facebook Live challenge right now.
90.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did a couple 21s and now I'm doing a 90-day Facebook Live challenge. It's to support one of my amazing clients who has this company called Champions Over Cancer, and we're raising awareness for her company. And at the same time, I'm going live for 90 days. But this was my live for today because we did it together, and I'm very happy with that. Perfect. But if you just follow me on Facebook is the best way, honestly, to reach me. Melanie Layer on Facebook. And if you follow my public figure page, you'll get to watch my 90-day Facebook Live. I answer questions all the time. I take requests on what to talk about. I love to give as much value as I possibly can. So that's the best way to reach me, Facebook.
Well, I thank you so much for joining us. It's been really fun. I think a lot of people have got so much out of it, like I've said before. And I just got one more question for you, which I like to ask here and there. But how do you feel that you are wild and creative?
Oh my gosh, I am super wild. My mantra for this year is I am young, I am wild, I am free.
Perfect.
And, yeah, I love it. I think that I am wild because I just go for things. I live so much of my life in the present moment that I have a lot of stories and I have a lot of things that would have never happened had I just thought about it a little longer, you know? So right. I'm wild because I'm not tamed. I don't follow the rules. I make my own. I have more stories than thoughts. I have more memories than things. I think that's what makes me wild. And what makes me creative is I'm always looking for new ways to be happy and create joy than other people. And I'm always looking for ways to create new businesses. And I help people with their branding and their marketing and their, always looking for ways to be outside of the box and shock people, make people laugh, make people smile, make people think. So I think that my creativity is a big part of what makes me wild. And what makes me wild is a big part of what makes me creative. So I think it's a good question.
What do you see yourself doing like 5 years from now? Is it the same thing or is it totally different or?
The truth is, because I make my decisions in the moment.
You don't know.
If in 5 years I'm no longer happy doing what I'm doing, it'll change. But I live my life always making sure I'm happy in the moment. So it'll progress, you know what I mean? Like I have no idea if one day I'll be like, what would really make me happy is to do this and my business might shift. But I'm committed to having a life that is completely in congruence with who I am as a person. So as much as I will change in the next 5 years, my business will. And I'm ready for that ride.
That's so awesome that you mentioned that because I know that so many people still have like that traditional mindset where they're like, no, like I need to think of one career that I'm going to do forever, like be a doctor or be this or that, and that'll satisfy me forever and I should be happy because it's a great career. And like just from what you said there, like it's just such a wonderful confirmation that you might not want to do the same thing in 5 years, right? You might not want to do the same thing in 2 years, and it's so unbelievably okay. It's just like we're living in a very conscious time now where you have the ability to change your mind and it be okay. And I think that like our whole conversation has really been about that. So if there's anybody watching right now that is feeling frustrated or feeling trapped or feeling like they're in handcuffs or not have control in any way, I think that hopefully you got from this this conversation that, you know, living in the moment and really deciding on what makes you happy in every single moment is going to help you become free. Is that right?
Yes. I love it. That's it. That's exactly right.
Okay, so we'll end on that note. So thank you everybody for watching, and please share this. I'm sure Melanie would love to hit all corners of the internet, and so would I. So please share this with your friends and family, or anybody you know that maybe like needs a pick-me-up or needs some inspiration. I think this was a great combo. So anyway, talk to you all soon, and we'll see you again. We'll see you again soon. Bye.